Now it's my pleasure to introduce John Pangborn.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Good morning. One more, only one, housekeeping note. When you came into the room, you were handed these cards, I hope, and these are the question cards on which you will write questions as time goes on, as the various speakers make presentations. And they will be collected periodically, and then we will attempt to answer them. Please don't ask real hard questions. We will attempt to answer them at the question and answer sessions, and there's 2 of those scheduled for today. The kind of question that the doctors cannot answer are patient-specific questions about your son or your daughter, that sort of thing. So please make the questions generic. State them so that they're not giving medical advice to you as a parent, because that we can't do that sort of thing from the podium. I'm sure you'll understand that. Now, about 37, 38 years ago, I was a lieutenant in the Air Force stationed at McClellan Air Force Base in North Highlands, California. That's just outside of Sacramento. And our son, Robert, had been abnormal from birth, not quite with it, not really terrible, but just unusual in that he had trouble relating to the environment and to us and the things around him. And we had him taken to Sutter Memorial Hospital, where they said, oh, this looks like one of these rare autistic individuals. And we actually have a written diagnosis from Sutter Memorial Hospital around 1969, 1970, saying that he is autistic. And I didn't know what autism was. I didn't even know what the word meant. My wife did. Well, what I didn't know at the time is I was 500 miles away from Bernie Rimland, who knew a lot about it, but I didn't meet Bernie until about 1980, 1979, 1980. I want you to look around, and I want you to realize that now you have company. You are among friends. You are among people who want to help you with this problem, as we do in Dan and ARI. You're not alone, and we're going to do our best today to relay to you what we know about autism and what we think can help. What we have to offer is a series of options that you as a parent can evaluate, and with the help of your clinician, your physician, you can try various things. We're going to structure the day sort of in the chronological order that we think most parents and most clinicians would advance in taking a child through a series of treatments. Autism is not helped overnight. We don't get them all well. We get a large number of them significantly improved. And what we're going to try to do today is explain to you how we go about doing that. I'd like to introduce to you my wife, Christine, of 44 years. Please stand up, because we would not have Dan as we know it today without Christine's help. Okay, what do you need to know here? Well, to some extent you want to know certainly why is my child autistic. A more important question to you is can autistics recover? And to what degree can they be helped? When does the Dan approach work? Why is it a biomedical problem? And by biomedical, what we mean is it's biological and medical. We don't mean a prosthesis or a mechanical device to help someone get around through life. It's kind of a strange word. I don't know how we managed to adopt that. But what we are doing is combining medicine with biochemistry and biology to make a scientific, sensible approach towards this disease. why is it so difficult to reverse? And that's one of the mysteries of autism, is how does the child get locked into this autistic condition? And what do we've got to do to break this deadlock that the child is in? And how do you go about doing it? A little bit of history. As was mentioned before, our first conference was in 1995. It was at the Harvey Hotel in Dallas, Texas, and there were about 40 of us there. And they were investigators in autism, clinicians and researchers and scientists from all around the world, England, Norway, elsewhere, and that's what got it started. We wrote our first consensus report on what we thought it was and what one might go about doing to help children with this disastrous disease. And that was a thin little, tiny little pamphlet which has now evolved into a big book like this. And every so often we write another one as we learn more and as our perceptions change or are improved. ARI is funded through private donations. We don't get any money from the government. A lot of the other big organizations, they kind of keep their own money and do their own things with it. So we depend upon contributions from the benefactors to put this on and to do this research. There's no employees of DAN. It's a loosely held together organization. We don't have employment agreements or anything like that. It's just a group of professionals and parents who have banded together in a common cause of trying to figure out what is this thing and what do we do about it. This is the three founders. The important one there, Bernie, is in the middle. You're looking at me and you saw Sid Baker over here a moment ago. So that's us. Now, what do we try to do? Information transfer, that's what we're doing here today. That's part of this conference effort, is information transfer to parents and to the clinicians. We have a clinician education aspect to DAN, and on Monday, Dr. Liz Mumper and Dr. Nancy O'Hara will be talking to over 100 clinicians about the DAN approach, about the biomedical approach to helping children with autism. So that's a very big part of our function. Evaluation of triggering stressors. We're concerned about the environment, about the organophosphates that are pesticides and herbicides, about the organochlorines that are there. We'd like better studies on vaccine safety. We're concerned about that. We're concerned about mercury, lead, arsenic, and antimony in the environment. There's a lot of stressors that seem to be playing causative roles in autism, besides the genetic underpinnings that may or may not be there. So that's something that we keep close tabs on and we're quite concerned about. The predisposing conditions. Many of our children have some sort of little bit suboptimal biochemical capability in their makeup that may be of genetic origin, probably is of genetic origin. And if we had a perfectly clean environment, or we had the environment we had in the United States in, say, 1900, we wouldn't be seeing this because they're not being challenged by these toxicants that are in the environment that Maureen alluded to.